This is KUGAN CASSIUS for Rifle TV in association with Macklin's Gym Marbar. I am joined by Frank Warren. How are you today, Frank?
All right, mate. Yeah, we're having a good run at the moment.
We'll come on to that in a moment. Obviously, first of all, I want to catch up on the weekend's activities at the O2, where Anthony Joshua beat Charles Martin in 2 rounds to claim the IBF crown. What did you make of the fight in general?
Well, it went everywhere I predicted in my column in the Star. You know, I knew that Anthony would knock him out as soon as he hit him. I'm a big. I've always been a big fan of Anthony Joshua. I made that very clear from the beginning. I can remember when seeing him seeing him when he fought as amateur. I've always thought he's had tremendous potential. He's very level-headed, and being very blunt and honest about it. I think Charles Martin, and it's not a knock against Anthony Joshua. He can only do what he's fight the guy that's in front of him. But actually, probably Martin was the worst heavyweight champion I've seen. I can't think of a worse heavyweight champion than him over the years. And I go back to looking at, going right through. I just can't think of a worse one. I should think people like Audley Harrison and David Price must be gutted. They never got a chance with him. That's how he looked. He didn't want to know, did he? He sat on the floor, and that was it. But Anthony did what he had to do, and he's been very fortunate to win the belt that Tyson Fury put into the dustbin. But he's got it round his waist. But what I like about Anthony Joshua, why all the stupidity and all the rubbish that spouted out by his promotional team, he actually got his feet on the floor, and he talks about situations where, he's got a long way to go before he fights the likes of Tyson Fury, and or a Klitschko. And that's being very sensible, and anybody who knows anything about boxing knows that should be the case. They go on to talk about finding people like Malik Scott, Derek Chisora. They would have been good fights before you become world champion. Once you're world champion, what do you want to be fighting Derek Chisora for? Derek Chisora got well beaten by Tyson Fury. I mean, what does that gauge? What is that going to mean? He's now the world champion. You've got to step up when you're world champion and fight guys. Malik Scott was beaten by Derek Chisora. I'm hearing that's the fight they're going to make, and they're going to make it on the 25th of June at the O2. Now that, to be quite honest, is a nice job for Anthony Joshua, and he'll probably stop him. But that's not really what they're saying, that he's going to take on everybody. They're going to fight Malik Scott. They never had Wembley booked. It's just total rubbish for the 9th of July. We announced our fight. We've had Wembley booked for another event, and the Tyson Fury fight will take place on that date. Why would they want to even say that we're going to put a show on the same night? Isn't it insulting the British fans? Why are you preventing the fans from watching? Having to decide which show they want to watch. Arsenal don't play at home the same day as Tottenham play at home. Man United, Man City don't play at home the same day because they've got respect for their fans and respect for the sport. So why would you even want to go down that road? And as for all that sour grape stuff, Sky never wanted to fight. What was Sky following it around for? They were sending crews out and whatever to cover the fight. Forget the sour grapes. We managed to secure the fight because we work working with the Furies, and we'll be working with them going forward. This is not a one-off. This is going to be continuous. We're working with Mick Hennessy, Tyson and Peter Fury moving forward. That's why we're in it for. And the fans are not best served by hearing all that. No matter what you think about it, the Klitschko fight, Tyson Fury fighting Klitschko is a very intriguing fight. It's an intriguing fight, in my opinion, for the following. The first fight wasn't the most exciting fight to watch. Let's be honest about that. That Tyson did everything tactically he had to do to come away with a title, and I think it was great. Tactically, it was a great fight for him, and he beaten the guy who's been the standout heavyweight of his generation. But come the 9th, there's no way in this world Klitschko can do what he did last time. The only way he's going to get that title, he's got to come out, and be positive, and he's got to fight him. And he's going to have to take the fight to Tyson. He knows that better than anybody. And to do that means he's going to be exposing himself. So you could expect a bit of a bang up there. And what I like about Tyson Fury, and he showed it to me when he emphatically beat Derek, is that he has the ability to adapt and change his tactics in a fight. And that's, I think, what really got him through the fight to get him in this position where he won the title. So come the 9th, I think you're going to see something quite exciting, because if Klitschko shows up like he did in Germany, then there's no point in him showing up. So he's going to have to come and fight.
Frank, just going back to something you said about the 9th of July, are you saying that obviously you had the 9th of July for in the Northwest for Klitschko Fury?
I'm not promoting a fight on the 9th of July.
I'm saying that date for BoxNation was
Yeah.
done for the 9th of July. But are you saying that you had something held on the same date at Wembley?
We had the 9th, we had the 9th booked at Wembley and at the MEN Arena, because what we were trying to put together was Tyson Fury and Klitschko, and trying to put together Eubanks and Billy Joe Saunders on the one card and do it at Wembley. But we're not going to be able to do that. That is what our intention was. So the fights got split up. So now what's happened is that they're going at the MEN on the 9th, and that's what they're going to move forward with.
So when did you kind of release the date then?
I haven't released it.
Oh, you haven't?
We haven't released it yet, and they haven't come on to us and said anybody's challenged it. So it's a load of rubbish. And who is Anthony Joshua going to fight on July the 9th to warrant going to Wembley? Let's get to realistic here. Being really realistic. You have 14,000 seats to sell at the O2. Wembley costs you £500,000 to hire it before you even start, plus all the additional cost and everything else. Who's he going to fight? Malik Scott? Was that going to fill Wembley up? I mean, what planet are the Hearns on? Why do they come out with this rubbish? I mean, it's just ridiculous. It's stupid. It's petty. It's childish. You know, Anthony Joshua's the future. He's a role model. You know, Anthony Joshua's done a brilliant job for himself. You know, from a kid who come from a quite a troubled background, convictions and so forth. You know, and he's turned his life around, and that is really what is great about boxing. What it can do for you. Tyson Fury's not got any convictions, and he's being painted as a bad guy here. He's made a couple of really bad comments, and I'm sure he regrets saying that. But the bottom line is, he's not a bad guy. He's not the bad guy in this. And if their fight comes on, it's not going to be a Barry Hearn promotion. That's not going to be what's happening. It's going to be something that people are going to sit down around the table, if they want it, and make happen. But where's that going to go on when they're talking about doing that in November? Where are you going to put that on? In an indoor arena? It's a massive stadium fight. Just rubbish. And I'm telling you now, Anthony Joshua, and Anthony's the only sensible one who makes the most sensible comments there, is saying where he is. He's a work in progress. So he'll be fighting a Malik Scott, or he'll be fighting somebody of that ilk. That's where he's going to be. That's what's happening at the moment. So let's not stop kidding the public and all this crap about clashing with dates and all this rubbish that they come out with. They reinvent things all the time. They come out with this spill, which is total nonsense, and it confuses the fans. The real heavyweight champion in the world is Tyson Fury. He's the guy that won it. He's the guy that gave up the belt, had to vacate the belt because the IBF insisted that he mustn't fight Klitschko. That's what happened, rather than Tyson Fury fighting Martin. So what would the fans much rather have seen? And what the IBF much rather have seen? Tyson Fury fight Klitschko in a return, or fight Martin? Right, there's the two fighters, Martin and Klitschko. What would you much rather see? I mean, Martin, I've got to tell you something. If you went back 10 years ago, Martin couldn't have won the British title. And I doubt he could win it now. I mean, Hughie Fury would beat Martin. I really mean that, sincerely mean that. That was a pathetic performance. Great performance from Joshua, but let's get that, what your eyes see, what you actually watch. Let's stop doing this. Anthony Joshua is, for me, and I'm not changing where I come from with him, from day one I really rate him. But let's keep it all into perspective, what it is.
How much of the other card did you watch? Did you watch the whole thing?
I watch, yeah. I'm in boxing.
No, I know.
That's what I watch. I mean, I didn't watch BoxNation. I never watch it, and I don't. Of course, I watch it. I'm in the boxing business. And I'm intrigued. I want to watch it, and I want to see things. I want to see. There was some very interesting fights for me on there. I mean, Sky again with they're totally dismissing any fighters who were involved with. Tetty, where was he in their bantamweights? Where was Tetty? He wasn't rated in their top 10. I'll tell you what I would like to do, and McDonald, it was a good performance, he'd done what he had to do, put him in with Tetty, on Matchroom's card, and I'll pay for Tetty's purse. And they can have the fight.
Yeah?
I'm telling you, want that, Matchroom, pick up the phone, I will deliver my man Tetty, I will deliver him, I will pay his purse, you ain't even got to find his purse to fight McDonald. And he can go on your card. Or if you want, McDonald to come and fight an our show and I'll pay McDonald. But to cut through all the stuff about we can't make fights, promoters can't make fights, here is another fight I'm delivering you. That's the last few weeks I've talked about Liam Smith fighting Kell Brook and I've talked about this one. We're in the business of making fights and delivering the fights to the fans. That's what we want to do, and cut all the nonsense out that goes on and all the silly stuff that's said and the self-promotion. It's the fights that matter. It's the fights the fans want to see.
Just coming back to Tyson Fury, Frank, Eddie Hearn made some comments in the post-fight press conference and also in an interview I did with him yesterday about Tyson Fury not being a role model. That, and also in comparison to Anthony Joshua.
Well, what is a role model? I mean, what is this? We keep talking about role models. Everybody.
Someone people look up to, I don't know.
Well,
someone
yeah,
aspire to be like.
Well, I think people from Tyson Fury's community look up to him. You know, he's gone. Let's talk about the boxing aspect of it. No one's going to live Anthony Joshua's life. He's a multi-millionaire. He's made plenty of money. Hey, you know, you might look up to him. You know, I'll give you. What's a role model? David Beckham, to a lot of people, is a role model. The way he conducts himself, his family. If you're not into tattoos, he's not a role model for you, is he? There's other aspects of his life that you like, and there's other aspects you don't like. Anthony Joshua is a role model, but in his community, Tyson Fury is a role model. He's come from nowhere. Let me say, he didn't have no Olympic background. Tyson Fury couldn't go up to train regularly up in and use the facilities that were there for England, the England amateur boxing setup. He didn't have that. He didn't have Robert McCracken making that all available for him. And we all know he goes up there and we all know he trains. He had none of that. He'd done it the hard way. That's a role model, doing it the hard way. Now, he's made some stupid comments, but then again, and I'm sure and I know he does regret saying him, but the other side of the coin is, Anthony Joshua has done worse things and paid the penalty for it and got rid of, that's past his life. And great, he's moving on. Boxing's helped him and it's fantastic for him and his family. He's been able to achieve that. But Tyson Fury hasn't got convictions. He's done what he's had to do. And I think for what he's doing now, and he's certainly a role model to to Hughie Fury. He's given him the what to aim for. And, what they try to come out with and all their crap and denigrating people, you cannot denigrate Tyson Fury for what he's done in the ring. You cannot denigrate Anthony Joshua, what he's done in the ring. He's done everything that's been asked of him. He's fought everybody, he's beaten everybody that has been put in front of him, he's beaten them. And I have never, ever criticised him for that. I would never do that. Why would you want to criticise Tyson Fury for his achievements in the ring? Why would you want to do that? I don't understand that. It's like, my dad can beat your dad. Forget all that crap. Get the fight on. All the fans care about at the end of the day is seeing the fight. And this role model thing, I think it's a word that's bandied about so many times, and I've got to be honest, I don't understand it. Everybody in sport has an obligation to project the sport in the best possible terms and way they can. And Tyson Fury is very much aware of that, and I'm quite sure he's taken on board some of the things he said. But I can remember the standard bearer for our sport in my time when I was a kid, before Eddie Hearn was born, the standard bearer for our sport was Muhammad Ali. And his big comment when I was a kid was, blacks shouldn't go with whites. He said that, should keep to their own. The white man's the devil. Now, what would you make of that? What would Eddie Hearn have? Was that a role model? People say silly things sometimes, and they say them for effects, and they're young men, and they do and make silly comments. But everybody respects Muhammad Ali. He was voted BBC's personality of the century. So, let's push all that stuff to one side and let's look at what it is. They're two good fighters, and it's a great fight that's in the making. And if we can make it, then I'm quite sure between all the people concerned that it's a fight that can be made. But before it can be made, the real heavyweight champion has to fight the real challenger in Klitschko on the 9th. So before that fight takes place, it's ridiculous talking about anything else.
Okay. it's been a big couple of weeks on BoxNation, arguably your strongest couple of weeks, where you've had back-to-back announcements of fights left, right and centre. Obviously there was still fights like Golovkin that was announced from time ago, but
Yeah.
Canelo Card is some coup for you to get that on BoxNation, Frank.
Yeah, it is. I mean, you know, George, my son George. He did the negotiations for that and done really well in making sure that the BoxNation subscribers, viewers have had are getting it. I mean, there was a lot of competition. I suppose another one they said afterwards Sky didn't want. All the time you hear all these fights Sky don't want. I thought they were in the boxing business. They don't want the fights, and it's sour grapes. Look, we desperately want you to try and make the fight with Manny. We done most of Pacquiao's fights, and we done most of Mayweather's fight. And we wanted to do Manny Pacquiao and Mayweather. We didn't have the muscle at that time, that particular time, to be able to deliver that fight, and that went on Sky. Did we say we didn't want it? No, we didn't. Of course we wanted it. You know, we're men, we're not kids. All this silly talk and ridiculous. I'm going to run the same day as you, and I'm going to do this, and it's pathetic. You know, Barry Hearn. I don't know. Maybe he weren't. Maybe as you know, those old words he said in his little documentary. He was. I don't know. He was lying about saying he'd never told any lies, or he never told the truth till he was 40. That might be a lie.
Obviously, as well, the likes of Deontay Wilder in Russia against Povetkin. There's a good fight on this week as well with Algerian Errol Spence. They're just coming thick and fast for the next sort of 2 or 3 months.
Well, they are, and I think the Algerian Errol's fight, I think, is a good little fight. You know, Errol's come on well. I think Steve Bunt said on the show the other week that he feels that he's one of the most improved fighters to come who didn't do anything at the Olympics, and obviously we'll see. And Algeria, obviously, in Amir was quite a bit of a fight. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. But the Povetkin fight's going to be quite interesting because it's going to say a lot about Wilder. And again with Wilder, I was very sceptical about him until he won the title. And when he won the title, I thought he answered quite a few questions. He took it on the chin. He done the 12 rounds, and he showed a lot of heart. But since then, I think he's looked very average. And now he's going out, and I don't understand why he is going to Russia, as he's the champion. If you go to purse bid, you normally have 20% of the purse bid to play with. But he got outbid by the Ruskies, so it's going on there. And I suppose the bottom line of that is, you know, what's Povetkin got left in him? You know, he's not the fastest heavyweight in the world, but I think that Wilder's going to have his work cut out there. I really do.
May 21st, that is.
Yeah.
Need an update really on Billy Joe Saunders for the summer. I mean,
well, we've got a press conference tomorrow.
Yeah.
And Tyson's actually going to be at the press conference tomorrow to support his.
And with Naz and Ricky Hatton as well.
Support his cousins. So we're all so they're all going to be there. So it's going to be interesting.
I might bring a few gloves.
Bring a camera.
I might bring a few gloves, let alone a camera.
Yeah. Well, let's bring some gloves and we can get them signed and maybe do some sort of competition for some of the guys.
It'd be good, wouldn't it? Tyson, Naz, Ricky Hatton.
Yeah.
On one glove. Add you on there.
Yeah. I'll be on the lace.
Yeah. Yeah, that's tomorrow. That's obviously Naz and Ricky are promoting their fighters.
We're quite close to doing something with Ricky with him promotionally as well. So I'm looking forward to that. And working with Naz. You know, it's nice that. It's funny. Like maybe that's another conversation we'll have tomorrow. But the two of the guys who, you know, through third parties caused the rifts with us, that they're back in, and it's funny that how things sort of turn round and they look back on it, and I think the bottom line of that was that all was not as it seemed, as was represented to them.
You've also announced a date for the 4th of June at the Echo Arena for Liam Smith's second defence of his WBO crown. Opponent-wise, Frank, who's in the running here?
Austin Trout is the mandatory for the WBO, and we're waiting. We made him an offer. We're waiting for them to come back. That's what I'd like to announce.
Yeah.
Good fight.
Yeah, absolutely.
We tried to make the fight, which is, I can tell you now, we tried to make the Canelo fight, Cotto fights. We were in negotiation. We're the ones who told you at the time that there was no chance of Cotto fighting Brook when they were talking about it, and more rubbish. that was being spouted, and it was not going to happen because he's not ready to fight. So we're trying to get this mandatory out of the way, and hopefully we'll have some information for you in the next 48 hours or so once we know what Trout's doing, because there's talk of him now moving across to fight Charo, which be a bit of a disappointment if he does.
But obviously you've got other options there.
I mean we've got, it's not easy, but we will do the best we can, and hopefully you might get a look in at the winner of Amir's fight.
May the 7th.
Or Kell Brook.
Yeah.
It's a good fight. They're good fights for the fans. I mean, they're really good quality fights. The best man wins. It's not the end of the world for the loser. James DeGale got beat by George Groves. He went on and won the world title. Amir Khan got knocked out in the round by Bradis Prescott. He's fighting Canelo. It's not the end of the world. Get the fights on.
There could be another potential date clash there with Tony Bellew fighting on the same night.
Well, we've had that, and if you go on the forums and you'll see, we talked about that we've been banging on about that date for months, and it's been up on, I think it was up on I think it was up on Box Rec at the time about it, and we did announce that Jazza Dickens and Ryan Farag European title fights were going to be on that on that show. We announced that date, so we're not being after timers. Again, it's a date we've been had booked and penciled in. Otherwise, I'm sure they would have been booking it and have booked the date. So we're going to run on that date. There'll be Liam, and there'll be other fights on there, and we'll obviously confirm that who the opponent is the same within the next 48 hours.
Another thing I wanted to ask you about was, obviously we spoke about Shannon Briggs before. Shannon Briggs made a comment in one of the videos the other day about there was talks of a fight with Fury. Can you make
That's correct, yeah. We tried to make a fight a little while ago, and tried to make fights with him, with Derek Chisora a while ago, but we were not back. Certainly on the Derek one, they was not backed by the board. I think the board have got a problem. Mark Prince wanted his licence back. He's roughly the same age, and he's not had the punishment that Shannon's had, and the board knocked him back for his licence. So I don't see I just don't see how that's going to be like. Have they made the application? That's when you're going to find out. If the application's been made for Shannon Briggs to fight over here, then the Board of Control's got to make a decision. In my opinion, they'll knock it back. I may be wrong, but they may allow it to happen. But my opinion is they'll knock it back.
Obviously, we're not looking ahead of obviously April the 30th, but Billy Joe Saunders in the summer, Frank. What's the latest?
Well, we're working on 2 scenarios, and we will give you more of that tomorrow when you come along.
Okay. Bit cagey there, Frank.
Oh, cagey.
No, I
Point to having a press conference tomorrow, isn't it? I'll put it out today. Then no one will be there, will they?
Absolutely. But okay. So upcoming shows. Next one for you is obviously the end of this month for the Copper Box.
Yeah, we've got Hughie Fury's fighting for the WBO Intercontinental. He's fighting a guy called Fred Cassie, who's a Yank, 18-4-1. So he's been in with some reasonable fighters, so that should be a good fight for him. Liam Walsh is fighting Troy James. Got Ryan Walsh in with James Tennyson, which is a cracking fight. Plus, obviously, the 2 guys on the main events. And Lewis Petit's on there. Anthony Yardy, who I think is doing some really good things, and I think is going to be a star. I'm really impressed with what he's done and what he's done and how he's brought him through. Joe Pickford, Boy Jones Jr. and Virginder Singh will be having a fight, and he'll have one more. Then he's going to be fighting in India on I think it's the 11th of June in New Delhi. Or Delhi.
I think I spoke to Forrest earlier. That might be pushed back. He said.
Well, all right, you know more than I. Don't tell me.
I literally just had a conversation.
Oh, did you? Oh, well,
yeah. He said there's a chance of that being pushed back.
Okay,
so.
well that may be pushed back. But he's going to fight over the summer in Delhi.
No confirmation, but yeah.
He will fight in Delhi, and that's the objective there. And Star Sports are covering that, who we've got a contract with, and he'll be fighting for an intercontinental title there.
So moving into May, you've got May 13th in Bolton with Jack Hatchell.
Yeah. Good little show, that.
Yeah.
Nice show, some good fights on there, and again, looking forward to that one. I mean, we're very, we're quite busy, and we'll be doing something up in Birmingham You know, we're going to be doing a show up there, and we're just working on a date. Hopefully, get that sorted out in the next week or so. And if we can put the fight we're trying to put together there on the card, and the fight I would like to do is to do Tommy Langford against Matthew Macklin, if we can make that.
Interesting.
But it's a big, you know, I don't know. I'm not saying that's done, but that's a fight I would love to make.
Okay. So will that be in May? Is that a date you're looking for in May?
Probably, it may be May, but it might get pushed into June.
Okay. So confirmed at the moment then. So after Bolton, you go into Liverpool on the 4th of June.
Yeah.
And then after that, are the dates still yet to be confirmed?
They're yet to be confirmed. There will be another big show, which we will be announcing.
Okay.
Which is a big show.
I'm looking forward to tomorrow now.
So am I. I look forward to it.
Well, no, actually,
You've got to always look forward to tomorrow.
When the camera stops running, I'm going to get it out of you anyway. So, all right. Listen, unless you've got anything else to add, Frank, you want to talk about?
Terry Flanagan, he'll be fighting in the summer. I've got Terry. We're working on that at the moment. I've been talking to Steve Wood this morning, so hopefully we'll have him all sorted out. 'Cause he can fight in the summer. You know, all the guys get Tetty. If he's not fighting Jamie McDonald on a Matchroom show where they don't have to pay him, then he'll be out fighting again. Paul Butler is going to be fighting in a final eliminator for the WBO title. So we've got a load of stuff happening over this summer. It's a shame the football's on; it's spoiling it because we could be a bit more easier for everybody, including other promoters, if we could do that. But we've got a lot on, yeah, and I'm quite pleased the way things are going. I'm just, you know, I get a little bit annoyed, and I'll repeat myself again. All this stuff with Hearns. What do you call it? He said the Fury Klitschko is small stuff. I mean, please.
Who said that?
Barry Hearns in his interview. Barry Hearns, Bazza.
I haven't heard that. Well, I'm sure many people agree it's not.
Well, we know it's not, don't we? We know it's
so
not. I bet they would like to be promoting. If they're not promoting it, it's rubbish.
Right. Well, Frank, like I said, thank you very much for talking to RFL TV.
Pleasure.
Like I said, big day tomorrow. Look, a big day. Some big names at that press conference tomorrow. So.
Sorry, one other fight on the copper box, which I forgot about. It's a Commonwealth title, which is going to be Anthony Nelson against Jamie Conlon.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And you've got Dominic Nikas' fighter as well, Sanjeev Shahota. He's on the bill?
He's on the bill, yeah.
Yeah, I did a little
He's sold a lot of tickets, you know. He's done really well.
Not a really nice kid.
And he is a nice boy. From France is involved in it. It's a really nice.
Down to earth and got his head screwed on.
Absolutely.
Looking forward to seeing his
that's you know, that's what it's all about, isn't it?
It's not an ego game, is it, Frank? Or is it?
Well, of course, we've all got our egos and got different. Some people have egos and some people have. Their egos have got egos. And
quite some talent for your egos over the
I just think that, you know, listen, we all want to do the best we can do, but, you know, sometimes the bullshit has to stop and reality has to set in. And you have to see with your eyes, what your eyes are seeing, not let somebody else tell you what you're seeing. Deal with reality, you know.
Would you call yourself a role model?
A role model for what?
No, I'm just saying in life.
I think it's a stupid expression. I think that you're all there to do the best you can for whatever walk of life or sport you're in, you know, and that's it. No one wants to bring the sport into disrepute. Am I a role model? I don't know. If I'm a role model for fighting my way out of Priory Green Estate and doing what I do my thing, then maybe. But I wouldn't want to go through all the rubbish I've been through to get to here. You know, it's trying to build this brand. Everyone's trying to build a brand now, aren't they? That's what it is. You know, it's like building a brand, and you know, and I suppose because obviously this is all revolves around Anthony Joshua. Is he a brand? And I'm sure he will become a brand. But you know what? He'll be the only thing that people at the end of the day are going to be interested in: can you fight or not? And what the opponent's going to be like who you're fighting. And he's very capable. He's done everything that's been asked of him. And as I say, I've always been a massive admirer of him, and that certainly won't change. I still think that Dylan White, there were some questions there to be answered, and you didn't get them answered by a fella who, you know, I don't think he threw a punch, did he? Be honest, did he? I mean, you know, and that's all it's
disappointing.
There are questions, of course, the questions.
Sorry, Frank, I just cut out that you were just saying about Charles Martin, so I don't know where it left off, but.
Where'd I go? I think I was just saying, you know, to talk about Anthony Joshua. I've always, you know, I've said it. I'm a big fan of Anthony Joshua. Always have been. I think he's done tremendously well in all aspects of what he's done. I think we were talking about role models, weren't we?
Yeah, I think so. Sorry, for people who are watching this, the camera stopped and there's been a 5-minute gap, so...
Cheap cameras. But,
what are you on about? BoxNation paid for that?
did they? Probably was.
No, I'm joking.
Bought it off of Sky. No, he. You know, I don't know what a role model is. You know, all this role model stuff, as you know, just I said earlier, it's. I don't think anybody's going to live their life like Anthony Joshua lived their life, or like you, or like David Beckham, or anybody else you want to call whatever a role model is. You know, what he is a good fighter who conducts himself well in the ring. And Tyson Fury he made a mistake, but he conducts himself well, and you know, and has had an exemplary record as far as boxing is concerned, and done it the hard way. And what I like about Anthony Joshua, he's honest. Unlike the people around him, you know, the cheerleaders who keep on banging on about, you know, role models and whatever. It's about the boxing at the end of the day. And Charles Martin didn't answer one single question. Dylan White gave him a tougher fight than Charles Martin. Charles Martin, to me, is what he is. He's he's just a guy who had a pumped-up record, and he hasn't done anything. He certainly, I thought he disgraced himself in that fight. Didn't come to fight. You're only going to find out about Tyson and Anthony Joshua when they get into the ring together. That's when he has to step up and he fights someone at that level. And until Anthony Joshua beats him, then he can't be considered to be the #1 heavyweight on the planet. But Anthony knows that. He's the one who does know that. And he's honest enough to admit that. And I think that's very, you know, and I think that's the sanity in that scenario, or that camp. He's the only one in there who talks any sense.
Do you know what Periscope is?
Do I know what a Periscope is?
No, do you know what the social media application called Periscope is?
What's that?
It's basically like a live video, so it's connected to Twitter. So basically, people would log in, they'll see you. We could do an interview now.
Yeah.
They can write and ask
I've
questions.
heard about it. Yeah.
So I was on it last night,
Yeah.
but I was half cut when I did it.
Yeah.
I'd had a bit of vodka to drink on my own.
Yeah.
Anyway, I remember some of the things people write, because they were saying to me, "What are you doing tomorrow?" And I said, "I'm going to see old Warren, aren't I?" I watched it back, it was really cringy.
Not so much of the old.
Yeah, I went to go and see old Warren, aren't I? And someone wrote to me and they said, "Why is Frank so bitter?" And I said, "I don't know, do you know what? I'm going to ask him that tomorrow." I just remembered, I'm going to say, "Do you think you come across as bitter?"
Well, you know me. You've been out. Do you think I'm a bitter person?
No, but I know you. Like I said to you, I know you. Like I said, sort of especially over the last couple of years, more so for the first sort of 2 years when we were doing that stuff. I suppose some of the things that you say, but then you could argue that some of the stuff that Eddie Hearn would say could come across as bitter. I suppose it's when you're talking about certain things, people look at it and go,
I don't think it's bitterness. I just don't like the bullshit. I don't want to listen to all the crap about, you know, the BoxNation, that Sky didn't want to buy fights and that. And I think that does us a disservice. It's not about being bitter. If I was bitter, I mean, I walked away from Sky. You know, my life didn't depend on Sky. My boxing career hasn't depended on them or any other TV channel. I've always been pretty much my own person. If I was going to be bitter, I'd be bitter over what happened behind the scenes with Naz and with Ricky Hatton, you know, and how they were lied to by the people who were involved with them, which caused the problems with me. I never had a fallout with them. And I look at stuff like that. That can, you know, you think yourself, what's that all about? But I'm saying I'm not a bitter person. I mean, you see me out in environments. You come along to the football. I think more than anything, I'm pretty laid back and enjoying my life. I've got no problem.
Frank, what I think
but I say if you were to call saying how it is bitter. What I mean by saying how it is, you know, saying how I feel. Yeah. That's not bitter. That's how I feel. Yeah. And if sometimes what I'm saying might upset somebody, well, don't ask me the question. Yeah. You know, what do you want me to do? Sit here and put the old double glazing salesman smile on, the Rumford smile, or the Brentwood smile, and sit here and say all these? I say how it is, mate. That's how it is. I don't need to do that stuff. I am, as I say, I am my own person. Always have been my own person, and I always say how I see it. Now that might upset people, but I feel comfortable with that. But I'm certainly not bitter. How can I be bitter? We've just look what we've done. We've worked really hard. We've just got all these fights we've just discussed. It's quite not a bad roster, is it?
No.
And it's great for British boxing. And so what am I bitter? I'm happy with all that going on like that. And I'm happy it's going from strength to strength. And things are only going to get, from that point of view, are only going to change. We've been working on, and I've now banged on about it for a little while now, on quite a few deals and situations, and they're sort of coming to fruition. In the next, over the next sort of month, few weeks, next month, I'm going to be even less bitter. I'm going to be happy. I might even make that my theme tune, happy. I might even...
I just remember to ask you about, because someone said to me, and when they said to me, I went, I said, look, Frank's all right. But do you know what? When I go in there tomorrow, I'm going to actually ask him, right? Because someone did write that.
Well, you should, but the other side of it, I remember you saying to me years ago, people saying I was miserable.
Well, you're not miserable, no. I think what it is, sometimes I'm obviously asking you things, and some of the things that we'll talk about are, like I said, we'd like to be talking about positive things all the time, but it doesn't work like that. So there's always stuff to be talking about, and I suppose, like you said, in your opinion, you're telling it how it is. If people want to...
Well, you could look at another scenario, like, as you know, you might have gathered by now, I'm an Arsenal fan. So when the glory days were there, or some of the glory days, with Arsene Wenger talking about Alex Ferguson, there seemed to be a lot of bitterness between those two. But it's not. At the end of the day, it is what you want to call it, a rivalry. There's a rivalry there, but I love rivalry because that's how I got into the sport. The sport was controlled by a cartel when I got involved with the sport, and I had to break that cartel down, and I did, and broke the Boxing Board of Control Down's regulations, which stopped live shows on TV, shows taking place near each other. All that all changed. And I was quite pleased that was done, and that's enabled other people to benefit from that. But I've benefited from it. It's not bad. I live this. This is what I do. We're in the boxing business. That's what we do. That's how we live. And I certainly have got a passion about the sport, and I don't like keep hearing some of this misinformation that keeps being put out. We're going to run shows on the same night and all that. That I think is insulting to the fans. As I've said earlier on, it's insulting. And so, is it bitter? No, it needs to be answered. What the problem is, no one questions anything. The journalists, and I mean this, no one's questions that. No one said, have you actually booked Wembley? Have you got a contract at Wembley for the 9th? And by the way, who are you putting on the 9th? These are, if I was a journalist, I'd be sitting there asking these questions. Who's asked those questions? Because they say it, that's what it is. And it's put in, and that is the scenario. When we all know, it's bullshit. That to me, if you want to call it, I haven't got bitterness, but if I'm upset about anything, it's because nobody asked the question. They just accept the garbage that comes out.
Okay.
And, keep
say?
buying the double glazing.
All right. Well, Frank, before you turn even more bitter.
Before I turn it an acid drop.
Listen, thank you very much for your time today. And it's all gearing up now for obviously April 30th, and then May 7th I'm going out there myself.
Oh, no, you are.
I'm actually going to San Francisco for a couple of days.
Good. You wear some flowers in your hair?
What's that?
You're going to wear some flowers
I've never been to San Francisco.
You'll be all right.
I know it's a bit earthquake prone there, isn't it?
Yeah, right, yeah.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah, the ground will move for you.
Yeah, 2 days I'm going out there for to see Emir Khan, so...
Lovely. That should be good fun.
Courtesy of yourself, so...
Well, that's what it's all about, isn't it? You are, you are on the BoxNation payroll delivering a programme from every week. We make no secret of that. And do we ever say to you, you can't do this, do that? Do we give you a real hard time over everything?
No.
Lovely. That's it.
Yeah.
And our commentary team, and I've got to say this, our commentary team are also not cheerleaders on BoxNation. No one interferes with them. The editorial content is they say it how they feel. They don't have to bang the drum.
And I will add as well, never in 2 years, one missed or late payment to the CASSIUS and Hearns show.
You've been getting that tenner a week regular as that?
Yeah.
Good man.
Absolutely. Frank, thank you
right,
very
mate.
much for talking to us, and like I said, we'll catch up with you soon. Well, actually, we're going to catch up with you tomorrow. So
yeah. Well, it should be quite interesting. I know Tyson is there, and along with Mick and the team, and I'm looking forward to that. But tomorrow's all about Huey tomorrow. That's what it's about. And and he's got a place in this heavyweight scenario. He's had more fights than Anthony Joshua. And you look at him, and I mean, you know, I know Peter Fury said to me, "Why couldn't we get Charles Martin? Why couldn't we have Charles Martin for UE Fury?" It'd been interesting, wouldn't it?
It is what it is.
They could have been Britain's equivalent to the Klitschko's.
It's true.
Yeah. Anyway,
exciting times anyway.
They
Frank, we'll catch up with you tomorrow.
Look forward to it.
Big press conference in London.